Hello, welcome back to another video. In this particular video, I wanted to talk about self-image and why it is very important in self-development. The way you see yourself is crucial for the development of you. If you have started to look into development, if you have started to look into how you can be the best self that you are meant to be in this world, if you have started and taken a vow or a decision of some kind to change your life, to make your life better, then this video is perfect for you because we are going to go deep into what a self-image is. We are going to look at both the spiritual aspects of it and also the material aspects of it and how it changes your material life as well as your spiritual life. Now, of course, there has been this research that I did for this video goes to people like Carl Jung who have contributed a lot into the archetypal psychology, and his predecessors also have done a great amount of work like Freud or other psychoanalysts after Carl Jung, his disciples and his thought followers who have done really great works in archetypal psychology. But you need not have to look deep into their books or go read them or to get a glimpse of what Carl Jung and his team of psychoanalysts was talking about. You simply have to look into yourself to recognize a few things about yourself. The first term that I want you to contemplate in this particular video is archetype, and why archetypal psychology is kind of relatable to every single person in this world, because we use archetypes for forming relationships, for forming an ego, and to develop this ego over time. Archetypes are basically an instinctual act from coming from your unconscious. This is how Carl Jung defines it: an instinct that is personified, so to speak. And so we all share these instincts because we share the unconscious, regardless of where you are from. If you are from a poor background from India, if you are from a rich background from Europe or the States, whatever your background is, we all have the the access to unconscious, and we use these archetypes to deal with people, knowingly and unknowingly, of course. And so certain experiences also reveal certain archetypes of ourselves. And so it is very important for us to have as much experiences as we can and to form as many social relationships as we can. So not only to know people but to know ourselves better. And we see that these archetype revelations happen when you are put in different situations and different social interactions. You can see how the dynamics of a certain archetype plays out. So let me first make it clear and define you again what an archetype is, so that you can look into your social relationships and see the formation of such archetypes and the play of such archetypes in your life. So an archetype is a form or an image or a personality that is based upon a certain instinct. For example, if I say of an archetype like the Joker is of course the image that you have in your mind's view, but it comes back to the instinct of making people laugh or making yourself laugh, for instance. There is always a negative aspect to an archetype. So, a person who is a joker may also be very depressed in the background, and of course, this has been depicted in a lot of movies and in a lot of novels, because we see that the writer also, the Joker also interacts with such a force called the archetypal force that rises out of this unconscious. So when you see this instinct arise in your conscious view, you will start to develop an inclination to progress this archetype further. If you find that in a relationship you are very funny, or you are tending to make jokes, or you are tending to be sophisticated like a king, for example, then you will have an instinct towards those relationships more, and you will want to knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, want to develop this instinct, this archetype instinct that you have. And so you will do that. And if you be in that relationship more and more often, you will find yourself developing this archetypal instinct, this image that you have of yourself as a joker, as a king, or as a magician, or as a wise sage, or whatever it is that you think of yourself. So let me get back to the topic of self-image again for a moment here, because self-image plays a crucial role during this development of an archetype. And you can certainly develop any type of archetype that you would like if you know the dynamics, and if you have kind of seen it in play, how it unfolds in a social relationship, or in a family dynamic, or simply in your own personal life, even when you are alone. If you want to progress in your career as a writer, for example, then it is important that you look at yourself as a writer and develop this instinct of a writer who is always looking for ideas and is trying to write a certain amount of time in a certain amount of day in a certain amount of words. So, so this instinct of a writer, if you develop this inside yourself, you can slowly progress into seeing yourself as a writer, or seeing yourself as a certain kind of a personality, and then moving forward and developing this to its utmost peak. And of course, people do this. Intelligent people know the the basis of psychological movement, and they know how to analyze yourself and move yourself so that you can become the person that you desire. And of course, you can ask this to any successful person, and they will tell you the same. So the most important thing that I want to take you to take out of this video is not a book, or not a formula, or not a reading exercise that you have to do. The only important thing that I want to give you is to look at your present self-image. And when you look at your present self-image, that is where things start to change. That is where things start to begin to change, or the the affinity starts to arise inside you to change and to mold this self-image somehow. This is not. This may sound scary, like a mask, like wearing a mask or something like that, and it may also sound pretentious that you are probably pretending to be someone you are not. But to be honest, this is how your brain works. It works on the basis of self-deception. Self-deception may be a very triggering word for someone. Self-hypnotization might be a good word for this particular topic, but regardless, you will have to hypnotize yourself into being that person that you want to be. Similarly, there is every kind of archetype inside you. You are able to access things inside from the unconscious, and you are perfectly capable of doing that. Over time, you will gain an instinct to develop archetypes and develop relationships according to these archetypes. So, how does, for example, if you want to judge yourself, how does one know how to be a good father or a good mother? Do they take a course or do they do read a book about it? They might read a book about it to simply learn, but we have this instinctual feeling inside of ourselves, and we know that we can be father to a child. We know how to be a good father also, because all the bad fathers feel guilty about them being bad. We also know how to be an artist. We also know how to be a child. We also know how to be a skillful person, how to be a kingly person, person of sophistication. We have all this inside ourselves, and we simply have to align ourselves, make ourselves move towards this direction, and then simply align ourselves with this self-image that you are trying to become. Think about your self-image over and over again. How do you want to be in the future? How do you perceive yourself? Because change starts here. It starts here and now, and in you looking into yourself rather than trying to obsessively change your environment, rather than trying to learn something, or rather than trying to go on a retreat, or to do something. Change begins here in your life by looking inwards and into your self-image. So that is it for now. This was simply a brief introduction, and the one thing that I want you to take out of this is awareness upon your self-image and the way it is growing, and also above that, I also want you to focus on the word called archetype. So thank you for watching this video. If you're new here, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel and click on the like button down below, and also comment down in the section to let me know what are your thoughts on this topic of self-image, and what do you perceive yourself as. Thank you and bye bye.